Good morning. Today we're going to talk about lesson 1.2, adding integers with different signs. We're going to focus on the Common Core 7th grade standard number systems, number 1, along with the number systems 1B. So the question is how do you add integers with different signs? So if we take a look here, we have adding on the number line. Okay, let me get my pen up. And so we have the 3 plus 2 is our example, okay? So this is where we start at, right here. This is the direction that we head in. This is our operation, so it's a positive. So we're going to go to the right or in the positive direction. And then this is how many units we're going to go from where we started. So they don't really show up, but you go 1, 2, 3, okay? So that makes where we're going to start at here. And then we're going to go 2 more units because we're adding. So 1, 2. So using the number line, we can find that 3 plus 2 is 5. Now, really, this is no different than what you've already been doing in addition since 1st grade. Here's where it gets a little bit different, okay? Where we're going to start at the number 3. We're going to go in the right or the positive direction because we're adding. But here's what I call a little U-turn. This is a negative sign in front of the 2. So that means make a U-turn. You're going to go back in the opposite direction. So see if I can write that up here. U-turn. Okay. There we go. So we start off at 3. Okay. Remember 1, 2, 3. And then initially we're supposed to go to the right because it's a plus sign there. But because we have the negative, we're going to make this U-turn, and we're actually going to go back this way. And we're going to go back 2 units. So 1, 2. All right. So the answer then is that we're going to be at number 1. We have another problem here. 4 plus negative 3. Clear out my stuff here. Okay, so we do the same thing. Excuse me. We start at 4. Okay, so get my draw a circle here. Okay, we're going to start at 4 there, and we're going to. It says go in the positive direction, so we go this way. But the negative sign, U-turn, we're going to go back the opposite way. So we're going to go back 3 units. So 1, 2, 3. Okay? So that means if we start at 4, we move 3 units to the left or in the negative direction. So then we're going to end up at 1. Okay? So you go ahead and try now the negative 7 plus 5. I'll pause this for a moment. So how'd you do? So let's see, if we go ahead and put in we're going to start at a negative 7. So right here, we'll start at negative 7. Okay. Then we're going to go in the positive direction. And we're going to go 5 units. Because the 5 here is really a positive 5. Don't look at this. This is the operation sign. It's really, you have a plus, okay, and then if we put a parenthesis around, because you guys have been seeing that like up here, it's really a plus 5, okay, or a positive 5, I should say, to be correct. So we're going to go in the positive direction, and then we're going to keep on going because that's what it tells us to do. All right, so we're going to go 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is where we end up at, is at negative 2. Okay, so you start at the negative 7, you move 5 units to the right, or in the positive direction. So negative 7 plus 5 is going to equal negative 2. Okay, so let's see. You go ahead and you do number 6. Come in, do the make a prediction. Whoops, went a little too fast there for you. Just trying to get. Okay, come on down. Let's go down here. So now we're going to use integer chips. And what they're showing you here is that you have a zero pair. Okay? This is something you really got to learn. Zero pair. So a positive integer chip, which is this guy right here, the red, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The yellow one is the positive, and the red one is the negative. Okay? So we look down here and we have model 3 plus negative 2. So you bring in 3 positives, so that's this right here, 3 positives, and then also bring in 2 negatives. So any time that you see that you have a pairing that looks like this, you can cancel them out. So let me change this over to a different color, a bit of black. So if I take those, okay, and that's what they're showing you down here, you can take those away and you have 1 left. So if we go ahead and say what is the left from when you remove the 0 pairs, it is 1 counter. So then find the sum of 3 plus negative 2, and then the answer is 1. If we continue on, we have model negative 6 plus 3. So if we bring in our chips, I'm going to bring in the negative 6 first. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And change my colors to represent positive. Then I want to bring in 1, 2, 3. Notice how I paired them up, okay? So if I zero them out, so there's 1 pair that's 0, there's 2 pairs that's 0, and the 3rd pair that's 0. And I am left then with 3 chips, okay? So I start with a negative 6. Counters to represent, well, I should just say start with 6 counters to represent negative 6. Add 3 counters to represent adding positive 3. Form the 0 pairs. What is left when you remove the 0 pairs? It is 3 red counters. So I'm going to put 3R for red, and that is negative 3. Okay, continuing on, you'll just go ahead and do the reflect here, make a prediction, do that question. Okay, then there's the explore activities. Go ahead and try and answer these and see what we get. And then we have a summarization of the rules here that we've learned so far. Okay, so the first one, 3 plus 5 equals 8, so those are 2 positives, have the same sign. You've been doing that since 1st grade. This one, very similar. Negative 2 plus negative 7 equals negative 9. So you follow this over here. You take the absolute value of negative 2, which is 2, plus the absolute value of negative 7, which is 7. So that becomes 2 plus 7 equals 9. And then we take the sign of both numbers, since it's negative, and becomes negative 9. So that's another way of looking at it. What happens if you have different signs here? So you subtract the smaller or lesser absolute value from the greater one. So what we're going to do, and we're going to take the absolute value of negative 5. Okay, so that's my negative 5. There's my absolute value, and that equals 5. I take the absolute value of 3, which is going to equal 3. I take 5 minus 3, and that equals 2. You've been doing that since 1st or 2nd grade. So we're going to do that, but then you take the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. So basically you're taking the sign of that number right there, which is negative 5. So then we put, this is my 2, I didn't show up like a 2, and that becomes negative 2. Okay, and you do the same thing here. We're going to take 10 minus 1 equals 9, and we use the sign of the larger number. So it's a negative, so it becomes negative 9. And then this one here is called the additive inverse. Whenever you have 2 numbers that are opposites of each other, which we talked about before, then that's always going to equal 0. So 4 plus a negative 4 is 0. Negative 11 plus 11 is equal to 0. Continuing on, they have further examples of the same thing. Negative 11 plus 6, absolute values. You subtract them and you get 5. You take the sign of the larger number, which is the negative over here. So you have some questions here at your turn to go ahead and do. Okay, and then you're down here towards the end, you're at the guided practice where you can do some additional work. So please try to do those and have them ready to show in class and ask any questions that you have. I hope this video helps you out. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.